Rama, incarnation of God, at the actual birth anniversary, as according to our lunar calendar, is coming up not too, how many days more? I think a week and a half, 8 days, something like that. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks more. So we will take up that story, and as per tradition, we begin by chanting the name of Rama. All this storytelling about Lord Rama begins with the chant of the name of Rama. So please repeat after me, simple, chanting the name of Rama, what is difficult there? Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 There are, it is chanted in 3 different notes, you say. Just see. The first is Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Again, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Now a little higher. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. And now little lower. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. So, Ramayana, the story of Rama, written by so many different sages, in so many different ways, there is immense variety. And there is nothing like this alone is true and that is not the right version, this is the right version, this is the historical and this is not historical. Nobody really needs to go into those things. Who knows what is historical there? So, there have been various ways in which it is described, and all descriptions are correct. In some other similar discussion, I had explained that how Tulsidas says that there are infinite stories of the infinite Lord. Lord is infinite, Hari Ananta. Lord is infinite, Hari Katha Ananta. The stories of Lord also are therefore infinite. Also, he gives a logic that Lord being dear to everybody, as one looks upon the Lord appears to that person in that particular way, and therefore, when that person describes, that becomes the historical, factual story from that person's point of view. It is not wrong at all, and he kind of describes that, let us see, for example, Rama, the great Lord residing in the hearts of millions of people, he, after spending 14 long years in forest, and in the midst of which so many uh, really unthinkable things happened. The abduction of Sita, and then Rama's going all the way to Lanka after having built a bridge, and then killing Ravana, bringing back Sita. And now, after long 14 years, the news was reaching, of course, the citizens of the kingdom, that Ayodhya. The citizens there were getting the news. So now they were very eager to see Rama coming back. And then a celestial aircraft was arranged for Rama's quick coming back from that killing the Ravana, and from there flying back to Ayodhya. Now, whether that aircraft was of our what we have, Boeing or whatever, we do not know. It was the poets have described it, but again that is that there were so many birds attached to it, and that is the quite common imagination that one can have, that how the first aeroplane in human mind took place must have been something like that, that the birds were flying, and so we can somehow attach ourselves to those birds, and then we will fly along with them, like riding a horseback, basically a flying horse, birds, powerful birds enough to carry one's weight. So that was the idea of that plane as depicted by certain poets and painters. So Rama comes from that plane, the plane is just about to land. The news had already spread to the hundreds of thousands of citizens of Ayodhya, and they have flocked there to come to welcome Rama as he was landing, his plane was landing. All of them were waiting very eagerly. Ah, he's coming now. Look at the plane, just now about to land. See, so much of excitement. Our Lord Rama, being loved more dearly than their own lives by all these citizens. It is because Rama is the self of all. We love ourselves more than anything else. So Rama, the love for Rama was just immense love that cannot be described. That Rama was going to land now after long 14 years. Rama is a combination of so many things. As it is described, that there was a doubt. Actually, that is how this Tulsi Ramayana begins. Tulsi starts telling this story as a dialogue between two sages, that what is this Rama that people talk about some Rama who killed Ravana because his wife was abducted, so got angry and killed Ravana. That is one Rama. We know also that the same Rama was the son of that king Dasharatha. But how could that Rama be God? I don't get it at all. So, there comes this great principle of God incarnating as human being. And so, this saying goes that very Rama who was the son of King Dasharatha, he is the Rama that has permeated in everything in the world, and that very Rama is all this universe, and that very Rama is transcendent to everything. जो राम दशरथ का बेटा, वही राम घट घट में लेटा, वही राम जगत पसेरा, वही राम सबसे न्यारा. So, this is what I told you in English first, that is the Rama. So, that human God, God in the form of a human being is coming, landing in Ayodhya. So, hundreds of thousands of people gathered there, and they are looking without blinking their eyes that how he is coming down. Let me I will not miss even the slightest of this, even the part of moment of this great scene now. He is coming without the winking of eye, and yes, as Rama lands, comes down, and there is everybody is greeting, everybody is singing his glories. Victory to Rama, is that chants are going on, and this devotee sees Rama, connects through mind to that Rama, and feels, very tangibly feels, that Rama looks at me and recognizes me, and then through this crowd comes straight directly to me and embraces me. Oh, my Lord, how can I describe how fulfilled I am now feeling? All the greatness, all that divine, he has so much love for me. He came straight and embraces me. Now another, so he writes his story of Rama, says that Rama lands and then comes straight to me first, without looking here and there, comes straight to me and embraces me. Some other devotee also is there writing the story. He says all other things written are okay, but actually Rama first did not go to that fellow. That is wrong. He came straight to me first, you see. It is so, and as we look upon our God, so our God appears to us. And so many stories come up. So, Tulsidas tells in his own way that because there was a lot of unrighteousness growing, that is how it is described that the demons are becoming more powerful. The demons had conquered everything, and thus now there is the righteous people, or righteousness per se has no place to go to. It is all the demonical tendencies were just playing unhindered. The whole earth or whole universe was now open to them. There was nothing that could check them. And so all these the divine beings, the great virtues, they prayed to Lord, and Lord assured them that yes, I will incarnate, and thus I will eliminate these demons, especially that most evil one, that Ravana. I will eliminate him, and thus uh, he takes birth in the clan of Dashratha. Dashratha, a pious king, was having 3 wives, and then was sad because didn't have any son. So he was talking to his the teacher, the advisor, the minister, Vasishtha, and Vasishtha told him, "Don't worry, the things are coming now to a stage where you will soon be blessed with 4 sons. You perform this sacrifice, and from as the sacrifice was performed, from that sacrifice came up the fire god himself and gave some that offered food, the prasada, the sacrificial food was given by this fire god to Dashratha, and told that, well, now you give this to your queens, and then next that you will be blessed with the sons accordingly. So that was done, and so in course of time Rama was born to his eldest queen. Her name was Kausalya. So, with and then it is described that when Brahma knew the hour had come, came all the gods, preparing each his chariot. The spotless heaven was thronged with the host of deities and the company of Gandharvas. These are the Gandharvas, are the celestial singers, sang the glories. They rained down lovely flowers in handfuls, and the sky echoed with the joyous throb of drums. Serpents, sages, and gods sang hymns of praise, and each in many a fashion offered him his worship. And thus the Lord, gracious and plenteous in mercy, was revealed to bless Kausalya. His mother contemplated with rapture the wondrous beauty that captivates the hearts of sages. His cloud dark body, lovely to behold, his 4 arms bearing each its weapon, decked with a garland of forest flowers, large eyed ocean of beauty, the demon's foe. Folding her hands, she said, "How may I praise thee, O infinite Lord?" Now, here is a funny thing. You see, her child is born, and she sees that child as God, not as my dear baby. Have you ever seen any mother that as soon as the infant is born, folds the hands and starts singing the prayers and glories to that infant, worshipping that infant as God? That is not normal at all. It is, but Kausalya knows and sees that it is God who has taken birth as a human being, as her very son. And so she starts saying that, how may I praise thee, infinite Lord? Veda and Purana, all scriptures declare thee beyond illusion, nature's elements and knowledge immeasurable. Thou, whom scriptures and saints hymn as the ocean of mercy and joy, now for my weal art manifest. O Lakshmi's spouse, who lovest thy faithful people, full many a universe created by illusion dwells in thy every hair. So say the Vedas, that in the every little hair of you are the infinitely many universes congealed in them, that you now are in front of me. Look at this God and human being put together. No contradiction there at all. Never think that how the infinite God can manifest in a human form. Many arguments can be given. Let me just give one. That if the God is has infinite capabilities, then why are you restricting the capability of God by saying that He cannot manifest in this little form? If God has infinite capability, He has the that includes this capability also of manifesting in a tiny form. What is wrong in that? It is, now we know that lot of things can be condensed in very little space. It is somebody has, in a very small disk or that pen drive, say 10,000 songs in the pocket, 10,000 hours of music. It is, how can 10,000 hours of music be put into a small this thing chip like this? Well, possible, can be condensed. So, just to give you an example, that what appears to be huge, big, without losing any of its bigness, can be condensed into a small thing. So, that Lord can be made to take a human form. So, here is the Lord in human form, and then you see there is as she is looking at that, Rama knew that if she keeps on worshipping me like this, the purpose will not be served. This Kausalya has to understand that I am her little baby too. Means she should have the knowledge of divinity coming up from time to time, but she still should be taking care of me as if her own child. So therefore it is described here that the one who is taking care of the whole universe now acts in such a way that this mother Kausalya is now sure that I have to take care of this baby. If I don't feed this baby, it will die. Who is to take care of this baby? Forgetting that this baby is the Lord who is taking care of the whole universe, who is feeding everyone. And that baby now is to be fed by Kausalya. So that is how this illusion takes place. Because of the sport of the Lord, he starts playing like a child, and now who can restrain, by thinking, no, is not a little child, but a divine being. These children's sport are so enchanting as they crawl around. So it is described here that it is that when they heard all the different sages, they also heard the charming sound of the baby's cries. All the queens came in anxious haste. And this way and that way, their happy handmaids and all the dwellers in the city were in all ecstasies, they all came. When Dasharatha heard of the birth of his son, his joy was like the joy of the blessed. In, the, in his soul was love supreme, and he trembled with delight. He would have risen, but composed himself and said, "The Lord, whose very name is a blessing to hear, has come into my house." The heart of the king was filled with perfect bliss as he summoned minstrels to play their music. And thus the celebrations began, and then many rites connected with the birth, they were being performed, and the time was passing, and when it is a happiness, then the days pass as if they are jiffies. Just roll on, time just runs, flies really, time flies when it is a happy time. It just passes away quickly. And if not, it is even a minute becomes too long. It is, 1 minute, why the clock seems to have stopped. In our some very serious and boring school classes, I used to feel probably that fellow who is supposed to give the bell must be asleep, or the clock must have turned back. What is happening? It is just 45 minutes class, and it seems we have spent more than an hour here. So, the time is in that sense also very relative. So, the days were passing very quickly. After watching the celebrations, gods and sages said, sages and serpents returned to their homes, praising their good fortune. Now listen, Girija. This is the secondary dialogue in that, the dialogue between Shiva and Parvati. I don't want to go into the details of that story, but this is being narrated by Lord Shiva to Parvati, this story of Rama. So he says that look, these after the celebrations, all of them went, and then we too remained there. Who too? Myself and Kakabhushundi, a sage in the form of a crow. So we were watching all that. So we remained there, but nobody was able to recognize us. So we wandered through the streets, wrapped and absorbed, but only he on whom the grace of Rama has been shed can comprehend this sacred experience. On that occasion, the king gave all who came, uh, come as they might, all that they wanted, enjoy, and all the gifts were given to whosoever came and whatever they wanted. Some days were spent in this fashion. Day and night passed by unnoticed. Then the king perceived that the naming day was come and sent for the wise sage. It is a custom now also followed in India, not that the name has to be given like here, before the birth the name is given, you know. So it is no there, it is the according to the exact this constellation, the exact day and time and all, a particular name is chosen to be the right name for that newborn baby. So, the sages or the experts in this matter, they are called to find out the right name that fits all these astrological signs. So, they would give the name. So, the name was given at that time. Till then, the name Rama was not given. So, this sage said, "O king," said the sage, "many and marvelous are their names, but I will name them according to the measure of my understanding." That is how the name of Lord, all are really the names of Lord, because all are different forms of God. So, all names are also actually the name of God, but we will choose according to our understanding some of them. So, he said that he who is the sum of joy and the ocean of bliss, one drop of which gladness the three spheres, that home of delight shall be called Rama. The Rama word means that which makes everything joyous. Ramayati iti Ramaha. That Rama means that which fills everything with joy. There is a saying in Hindi that if you want to be happy, if you want to be relaxed and happy, then take refuge in Rama and sing the name of Rama. आराम की तलब है तो एक काम कर, आराम की शरण में और राम नाम कर. So that is how you will have the comfort in life and joy in life. So that is how his name was given, Rama. The children delighted themselves in boyish games. From childhood, Lakshmana adored the feet of Rama, the second son. So it was described what all the four children are. Then the all pervading, absolute, emotionless, impersonal, caring not for diversion, uncreated, lay in Kausalya's lap. That is the Rama, that Brahman who is uncreated, all pervading, absolute, emotionless, impersonal, caring not for any diversion, and uncreated, lay in Kausalya's lap. See the poetic beauty of it, and also the reality. That is the truth, that everything that we perceive, everything, friends, that is really God incarnate. And because that is nothing but God, if you try to fathom what it really is, it is nothing but God. So, in this case, it is Rama who is aware of that divinity. Others are not aware of that divinity. In case of God incarnation, they are aware that they have taken human form, as it is described as somebody acting in a play. In a play, that gentleman could be acting as Othello, but he is aware that he is not actually Othello, he is John. So it is, I am John Smith, but acting in this play as Othello, tomorrow I have to act as Romeo. So it is that it is his, those are shifting identities. He is a professional actor, so doing all Shakespeare. So today Othello, tomorrow Romeo, does not matter, but his other identity remains same. They will be putting on the billboards that John Smith in the role of Othello, John Smith in the role of Romeo. So that John Smith is, although playing as Othello, is quite aware that I am actually John Smith. So everything is really God incarnate, but everything does not remember that. They are lost in play and thus are not aware of their true identity. God incarnate is aware that This is a play and for a purpose, that this play is being enacted, and thus that Kausalya has that little baby, but that little baby is actually the Brahman, the supreme reality, unspeakable, infinite, unborn, that is in the Kausalya's lap. And the beauty of a myriad loves adorned his body. That is true. God is the source of all beauty. There is no other beauty in the world but Lord. When in other things the beauty is a reflection, not real. Like when you stand in front of the mirror, you are seen in the mirror. When you go away from the mirror, not that your picture is stuck there, no, you were never there, it was only a reflection that was seen. Therefore, things which appear beautiful at one point do not appear beautiful at another time. Appear beautiful to A, do not appear beautiful to B. It is a very, because it is not real beauty at all. The real beauty is God. So, it is that Saint John of Cross, that spiritual canticle of the soul, that beloved is has gone. So, the lover is asking here, there, everywhere, where is my beloved, and asks certain flowering plants that, have you seen him, have you seen him? And they said, yes, he just passed by us, and while passing gave us all this beauty just by his glance. So, that is the source of all beauty, and thus you can see that he was so beautiful. And then the beauty is described, how his nails were so beautiful, that his nose was so beautiful, and all that is described, the hair, these, that, and all that was being done, still all was beautiful, yet the mother wants to make it more beautiful. So, mother would add this tunic, that dress, put this ornament, that ornament. Now, who is making what beautiful? Just see, it is Rama, by putting on these things, is making those things beautiful. And those things are not adding to any beauty of Rama, but being worn by Rama, those things would become beautiful. So, thus Rama, father and mother of the world, this is Rama, father and mother of the world, world delighted the inhabitants of the day of Kausala, that is the kingdom. And those, again he says to Bhavani, means Parvati, who have devoutly adored the feet of Raghunatha, experience this same blessing. So, that is, he makes this point here, that has not gone now. Although you may say it happened 5,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago, who knows, but that is still going on. So, even now, those who with devotion come to Rama get the same blessing as those who were there in Kausalya at that time were getting. Same devotion, that same blessings will come to us, the same touch that will bring joy to our life is available even now. Just by chanting the name of Rama, we can feel that nearness even now. This is continuation as exhibited in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Many of you must have read that very, very touching episode in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, that there was one day a mendicant devotee who came to Dakshineshwar where Sri Ramakrishna was staying. His name was Babaji, that is how he was called. He was a worshipper of a child Rama. Hmm? Rama in the form of a child, and he had a metal image of Rama, a metal statue of Rama, and he used to worship it with great affection, tremendous devotion. It is the devotion that makes it alive, you see. It is, otherwise it does not become alive to others. But so Sri Ramakrishna also befriended with this little Rama. So much so that he even would not go to that mendicant. He would like to be with Sri Ramakrishna all the time. Because Sri Ramakrishna had also equal, rather more devotion to Rama, and then seeing that little baby Rama likes to be with Sri Ramakrishna, and this worshipper, this mendicant, this devotee who had come to visit there, told Sri Ramakrishna that, you know, that I see he is more happy in your company than in my company. So now I think I should leave him here with you and be on my way. And that is the difference between what we wrongly label as love and that which is real love. In Narada's Bhakti aphorism, the sign of devotion, the love to God is described as tat sukha sukhitvam, the happiness of my beloved. That is important, and not my happiness. In worldly love, it is all my. What did you do for me? That is the criterion. That is really a misnomer, you know, to call it love. It is not love at all. It is some arrangement of convenience, mutual arrangement, as long as it works fine. So it is. If it does not work, okay, it breaks. That is it, you know. It is. So this is for a devotee, it is different. The tat sukha sukhitvam, this Babaji could see that my little Rama is happier with Sri Ramakrishna, and so he left that with Sri Ramakrishna and went away. And Sri Ramakrishna describes how he used to take care of this little Rama like really a little child, that he even would scold him. He would take him to, you know, to bathe in the Ganges, and then this little Rama, like a child, I would keep on, you know, not wanting to come out of the river. So he had to scold him sometimes and pull him out of the river. And one day he scolded him, and then he felt very sorry. Why did I scold him like this? One day he said that I really had to give him a slap on the cheek. Why you did like this? And then I felt so sad, and then I saw his mouth bleeding because he had nothing much to eat, so he ate all that those popped rice with some some thorny stuff still sticking to it, and thus was bleeding. So Sri Ramakrishna started crying himself that in this tender mouth how these soft and nice and sweet things Kausalya must have fed, and I am such a rogue that feeding this child with such terrible stuff. And Sri Ramakrishna started crying. It was all real for Sri Ramakrishna. Nobody else could see it as real. Well, their misfortune. It is they. So he is real even now too. So friends, let us conclude this. It is with the again chanting the name of Rama. Let us keep on chanting the name of Rama. That name is enough to carry us across this ocean of earth, friends. This ocean of suffering will end if we keep on chanting this name in our hearts. Please repeat. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.